Good morning and hello, I'm Professor Code. This is the Forex Supermodel Racing Review for Thursday the 6th of October 2022. Quick look at yesterday's results for Wednesday the 5th. Sedgefield on the National Hunt at the 4 o'clock. We're on two horses here. We're on number 2 Lady Stanwix, which slipped up and unfortunately had to be destroyed, died at 13 to 8. Talk about that in a minute. And we're on this our main profit driver, which was number 3 Reeve de Neum, which came second at 8 to 1. We only had one horse to beat basically in the race as far as we're concerned, and that was this eventual winner Thermusa, which won at 8 to 11 favourites. So we had what is it, £1 per £8 unit at 6 to 4 on Lady Stanwix as a break-even hedge minor loss, and we had the main stake on £2 per £8 unit at 8 to 1, slightly worse than the well, it's actually the same as the return, but you could have got slightly better than that. So we had £3 per £8 unit loss, £300 in our case, 0.375 exposure approximately, bringing the account down yet again to 67.75 units in profit overall. What went on there then? Well, we're in the sort of tail risk area, so if you're looking at a normal distribution, you've got this sort of bell-shaped curve. Recently we've had an unseated rider, which is not common but fairly common. We've had a faller, common but not common, and then we're getting into the tail risk area here on the distribution. We had a meeting abandoned after our race due to a slippery surface. Our horse was technically unable to show its running, possibly. And then yesterday we had a very extreme tail risk event. We had a break-even hedge, Lady Stanwix. Basically it said it slipped up, but if you watch the replay, and it's not very nice viewing, it didn't slip up. Basically it's right for sustained a full-on fracture probably in the cannon bone, and the horse just went down to the right. The jockey was chucked off, and that was the end of that. So that's very rare occurrence really for your selection to have that sort of issue. So and thankfully that is the case. But so the next event on the tail risk, we're sort of getting up to lightning strikes on our horses, and maybe space junk hitting them in the head a couple of furlongs out. But anyway, all joking apart, that wasn't very clever. Anyway, the accounts come down a little bit again, but we'll keep bashing away. So we'll stop it there and write up today's racing. Right, we're back for up today's racing. Then we've got for the 6th of October, we've got no filter 1, which is our structural filter, no ratio. We do have an alternate. It's at Worcester on the National Hunt at 4:30. It's a novice hurdle, class 3, 4-year-old plus 2 miles 7, good. What do we know about Worcester at around the 3 mile mark? Well, it's mid-speed, not fast, not quick, and the going's good, so that's relevant. So it's sort of the market's sort of deciding basically there's 4 horses in the race. It's basically saying there's not much between the front 3, but we'd agree with that to a certain extent. It's just that we don't think they're the ones to be looking at. So let's have a look at Shearer, number 4. What do we know about Shearer? Well, basically it's a soft to heavy horse. It performs on soft to heavy. It's got a very high knee action, and it won't really be suited to these conditions in our opinion. It looks pretty dog slow as well, so we'll get rid of that. The next one then is this high stakes. High stakes. Basically again a fairly soft to heavy horse in performance. It's got a lot of knee curl. Now if you get involved in looking at horses at the sales or in conformation, and you get to know what to look for in terms of the way they move and the galloping, and the high knee curl is basically, it means it's running and it's curling its forelegs high under its belly, and that's okay to a certain degree on soft, not so clever on good, and it's quite wasteful in terms of energy. So we can give high stakes a chop on that basis. Now Red Happy then, number 2. if you look at Red Happy's running, it's got quite a weird action. It's sort of it sort of has a, it's almost in the pad. There's a thing here called paddling, where the horse has a sort of flex in its knee, and that's not very efficient either. And it's sort of on the fringe of paddling. So we don't really like Red Happy either. And that leaves us with this number 3, Big Nasty. Now, Big Nasty hasn't been, it's predominantly a chaser, but it's a decent chaser, and it's a run at Wetherby, which is a pretty fast course, 4:11, and it's also been competitive at Cheltenham on the 13th to 4:22. Which is on the new course, which is very quick. It's 13.62, which is quicker than this Worcester 3 miles. So on the good. So it's and when it's as I say, it's a 9-year-old. It's a decent horse, and they're going to use this as a sharpener, and given the level of the other horses, it's quite likely that it's got a good chance of seeing them off, because it's got a standard decent action, and it's the class horse in the race. Anyway, we've kicked it off with £1.50 per £8 unit at 10 to 1, giving us 0.1875 exposure. The overround's about 103, 104. It's going to be some drift. This horse has been written up very poorly, Big Nasty, and so the main concentration is going to be on these other 3, the front 3. So we are likely to get drift. So we're going to stick on another £1 per £8 unit, so another 100, giving us a total exposure of £250 win. So we should be able to get about at least 12s, possibly 16 to 1 on our next £100. So giving us a sort of an average of about 12, 13 to 1, and if they really drifted out, we could get 16s or so anyway, so we'll see. But that's what we're doing. At the moment we've got £1.50 per £8 unit on this Big Nasty. It's a class chaser up against some pretty gruesome hurdlers, and that's why we're taking it on. There's only 4 in the race anyway, so it makes good risk return sense. And as I say, recently we've been catching the tail on the risk, and we're due for a bit of a change. And the racing has been pretty difficult recently, aside from the results. And we're just going to sort of trickle it along. But we will start punching in a few decent price winners shortly, and that's where we are. So anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and goodbye.